Good morning, and welcome to the Lone Star Weekly Business Hour. Your host, Rick Schissler, is a Silver Fox advisor who personally has over 40 years of experience as a serial entrepreneur. So sit back, pull out your pad and pencil, and get ready to take notes as we join Rick Schissler in his Lone Star Weekly Business Hour.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Weekly Business Hour. This is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and host of the Weekly Business Hour. We have a great show lined up for you today. First, our thought for the week about how to come out a winner. A quick check-in with Dick on the business of Lone Star. Jennifer Forrester of iFly is in the studio today to tell us about how she and iFly have been able to extend their business to benefit local children and charities. And our Silver Fox Advisor tip of the week, 5 easy ways to build trust with your customers. Now to the thought for the week. Well, now that the Super Bowl is behind us, we can turn our attention to winning and losing in our own businesses. Yesterday, if you watched the game, you witnessed a game between two great teams. Both teams appeared to be well prepared and ready to play. However, at the end of the game, there was one obvious difference. The Broncos won the game and the Panthers came away the loser. My question for you today, are you ready to win your own game in the business world? It is a real challenge to come away a winner. A lot of being a winner is how you look at winning. When was the last time you asked yourself, why am I playing this game? What is the most important goal you are working towards every day? Many times we either don't have a goal or we lose sight of it. I encourage you, if you've not examined or re-examined the main reason you're in business lately, to do so. We not only have to keep our priorities straight, but we have to make sure that we stay focused on a goal that we can win. When I first start with a new client, I ask them what your exit strategy goal is. Most of the time, they either don't have one or it's a very general one like, I want to retire comfortably. Your exit strategy needs to include at the very minimum 3 specific parts. When do I expect to exit my business? How much money do I want to walk away with? And to whom do I want to sell the business? Honestly answer these 3 questions. Build your business towards these goals, and you are prepared to win the game. You're in the right place if you're a business owner, manager, or you're considering starting your own business, because the Weekly Business Hour is where Montgomery County comes to talk about the latest in business news, ideas to improve your business, and to hear from some of our own local business leaders on how they have found success right here in Montgomery County. If you're ready to do business this week, then let's get started with today's show. First, let me remind you that if you have a question or a thought during the show or even after the show, please email it to me at rick@irlonestar.com. And if you enjoy the show, then please like us on Facebook at the Weekly Business Hour page. Now let's check on the business right here at Lone Star. Dick, what's on tap with Lone Star for the coming week?
I want to let your listeners know if they're interested in local health news and ideas, we're going to have the Health Hour, a new talk show on Wednesdays with local author Mike Sasser. He wrote a book a while back about weight loss, and he wants to do a show that covers Montgomery County, as in restaurants, and also health tips and tricks, and also good places to work out, exercise, and achieve your goals if you're looking to do weight loss and also general family health information. So that's the Health Hour with Mike Sasser every Wednesday at 1 p.m.
Well, Dick, that sounds like an exciting business. I tell you, one of the things being in business, we got to be healthy. Our business has to be healthy, and we need to be healthy. And when we are, we have much, much better chance of being successful. That's great. Well, let me turn to a few quick news items. Been some interesting things happen in the news lately around here, and the first one is with Conroe Regional Medical Center. They were recently awarded the 2016 Trauma System of Care. This article was posted on February 6th in the Conroe Courier. Conroe Regional Medical Center awarded 2016 Trauma System of Care Community Report. The Conroe Regional Medical Center announced this past Tuesday that it received the prestigious 2016 Trauma System of Care Award from the Southeast Texas Regional Advisory Council. There are 9 hospitals apparently in C-TRAC's jurisdiction that applied for the Trauma System of Care Award. Quoting from Chief Executive Officer Matt Davis, the 2016 Trauma System of Care Award recognizes the hospital and medical staff's commitment to providing the highest level of care for our patients. We are committed to providing patients with timely access to potential life-saving trauma care. What the award means, ladies and gentlemen, it's very interesting and I think very important to our community, business community, as well as our community in general. The Trauma System of Care Award recognizes the Conroe Regional Medical Center is the best of 9 hospitals in this region for excellence in development and the advancement of major trauma services. And this is important because C-TRAC funded a study that indicated that Montgomery County would need a Level 2 trauma center to meet the needs of a growing population. Conroe Regional was recognized for this in this award even before it obtained Level 2 trauma designation, an effort it hopes to obtain later this year. In order to achieve designation, the hospital has added surgical support staff to offer 24/7 trauma services in orthopedics, ophthalmology, facial trauma, and anesthesia. It's very important that we, as a member of this community, know that we have this level of support, particularly from our medical industry in this community. And so congratulations to Chief Executive Officer Matt Davis and the staff and the folks over at Conroe Regional Medical Center. Second news item I want to touch on today is another great advancement in our community, and this comes from the Conroe North Regional Airport. There have been discussions now over the last 2 or 3 years about the opening of a custom facility at the airport, and apparently come May of this year that will be able to open. That facility will open. It picked up this article, and it says the Conroe North Houston Regional Airport continues to position itself as an economic linchpin in the Conroe area with completion of a runway extension last year and the construction of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Facility. Quoting from Executive Director for the airport, Mark Smith, when combined with the amenities available at the Conroe North Industrial Park and the Dyson Technology Park, the initiatives are expected to make the area more palatable for corporations looking to conduct regional or international business in Montgomery County. Smith went on to say the amenities also make the county competitive with other high-growth Houston regions such as Sugar Land, which provides similar amenities at the Sugar Land Regional Airport. This will be a good choice for those that are looking for a location to set up local manufacturing, technology, or even administrative functions for their company, Smith said. This area has a lot to offer: a stable workforce, changing demographics, and easy access to surface transportation from air transportation perspective. It's an important advancement, I believe, for our community to have this type of service available because it will attract new businesses, larger businesses to our area. It's very important. And before I leave this story, I want to mention the airport, after this facility is opening, will be creating a new 20-year master plan. Be interesting to see what folks, the experts, seem to think the community is going to go as far as the airport over the next 20 years, but an important part of our economic puzzle. Well, that's our news for the week. I appreciate you listening to that. And now we come to, obviously, my most important and enjoyable part of the show, and that is to introduce our studio guest. Today, we are lucky to have Jennifer Forrester of iFly with us. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
Well, before we get started, I always like to introduce our guest to our listeners. So give us a little bit of your business and professional background.
Okay. I have been in the retail and service industry for about 32 years. I have had my own businesses, brick and mortar, as well as starting and selling some internet companies. And I have just recently, in the last 2 years, landed at iFly.
Well, tell us a little bit about iFly. I know prior to the show you and I were talking. It's really an interesting story and concept. Share that with us if you don't mind.
Absolutely. iFly is indoor skydiving. It simulates true freefall conditions in a vertical wind tunnel. It's basically where we can make your dream of flight come true. It becomes a reality in a very safe arena.
Well, let me ask you, when you say a safe arena, I think about flying, I'm inside, there are walls and ceilings and floors. How do I not hit one of those or one or more of those?
I'm actually glad you asked that, because a lot of people have asked me whether they climb to the top of our building and jump into the tunnel and land on a net. It's actually a lot safer than that. What happens is the person comes into our facility, and after we've given them a safety class and taught them how to fly, we gear them up. We'll put them in a helmet and goggles, earplugs, and a flight suit. Then we put you in the antechamber and you wait for your turn to fly. Then you gently fall forward, kind of like a trust fall, and the instructor is waiting for you in the tunnel. When you start to fall forward, you gently get lifted by a vertical column of air that's adjusted for your body style and weight. That is where you start in the tunnel.
So you start at the bottom, not the top.
We like to keep you at the bottom for the first little while, yes. The instructor will help position your arms and your legs and keep you looking upwards so you get the right body position. And once you're stable, he will let you go. He's always with you in the air, one-on-one, but once you learn how to do it, you can start to fly on your own.
That sounds kind of exciting. How do people react to that first time out?
It depends. We fly people from 3 years old to 103. So the children are the best. They are so much fun. They're not overthinking it. They have big smiles on their faces, for the most part, and they're relaxed. So they go in with no expectations. And it's amazing how they bend. I've never seen anything like it. They have the best time. They just enjoy it. Adults are a little trickier. They go in, they're a little more apprehensive because we're thinking about it. But once you get them to either smile or breathe, they have a great time. And it's actually rather addicting. Some people think it's a one and done. It's actually not. It's a sport that you can engage as an adult or a child with the different leagues and evenings that we have at the tunnel.
That's very interesting. Well, this is an interesting business, one of the most unusual that we've ever talked about on the show, and I want to talk a little bit more. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break now. When we come back, we'll talk with Jennifer further about iFly and some of the great things that it's doing in our community. So please stay with us.
Are you paying too much for your personal or business insurance? Patricia Cooper Insurance on FM 1488 and Tamina Road is an independent agency that can shop multiple carriers to find the best rates and coverages to fit your specific needs. Call us today at 281-356-9955 and let us go to work for you. Patricia Cooper Insurance, where our customers are treated like family.
Are you planning on growing, expanding, or possibly selling your business? All of these business opportunities require developing strategies and setting goals in order to achieve success. Providing specialized consulting in these and other key business decisions is what Silver Fox Advisors have been doing since 1986. Let us help you today. Call us at 713-343-3718. It might be the most profitable call that you ever make.
Running a business is hard. Pressure to maximize profits and minimize loss continue to grow. Schooley Mitchell of Houston can help. Their independent consultants will ensure you are receiving the best communications and credit card processing services at the best prices. Most importantly, their services are completely risk-free. If they don't find savings for you, there is no fee. Contact Schooley Mitchell of Houston today to find out. Call 832-314-1815 or visit their website at schooleymitchell.com/JM Polio.
Taylorized PR works exclusively to get your business noticed. Public relations is how others perceive you and your company. By tailorizing the marketing strategy exclusively to your business, your story is told. Taylorized PR services include networking, social media, blogs, press releases, public appearances, and event planning. To learn about Taylorized PR, call Margie Taylor at 936-828-6881 or visit the website at taylorizedpr.com. My business is tailored to yours.
You are listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and this is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and host. We're in the studio today, a very interesting conversation thus far, and an unusual business here in Montgomery County. Jennifer Forrester is our guest, general manager of that facility, talking about flying. That's an interesting topic in and of itself. So now we've fallen forward, we've had instruction. Is one of the goals to make our way to the top of the tunnel, so to speak, or is it just to hang there for a while?
Well, when you first begin, you should hang there for a while. You have to learn to get stable, and there is a progression in flying. First, you have to learn to belly fly, and there's 8 things you have to learn to do to get signed off for that. Then you can start on your back. Then you learn to sit fly, and then comes the challenging part. You have to learn how to fly on your head. So that's the progression. But once you've mastered belly flying, the instructor will let you fly on your own, and you can go to the top of the tunnel whenever you wish. And let me tell you, that's the fun part.
Are you an expert flyer?
Oh, no. By no means am I an expert. I've done belly and back, and now I'm trying very, very, very hard to do sit flying. It takes a while.
Yeah, that's interesting. The idea that it is a sport, too, is just intrigues me as a business manager, that I have a business that, okay, it's a one-off thing. I come in and I do it. But now you've developed a sport. You mentioned leagues. You actually have organized leagues?
Absolutely. It's very important for businesses to not have the once only or one and done customer.
Right.
You have to build a base of return customers, and that's what we try and do. We've done that by having a kids' night, for example. On Tuesdays, parents can come and they bring their kids with them, and it's a great opportunity for them to be social, and the kids get to participate. They're learning a new sport. It's healthy. It helps with their fitness, and it's great all around. And we also have adult league nights as well. We're trying to create seniors' night just to get them out and about as well. So it is very, very social, as well as having a sports side to it.
Well, now teach me for just a moment a competition. I assume with the league you're going to have a competitive element in there somewhere. What's a competition look like?
Okay, we have something called the IBA, and what they do is they regulate and help us with our safety protocols, and they also sponsor competitions all over the world once a month in our different tunnels. People from all over, United States or globally, depending upon the competition, will convene at a tunnel, and they will compete either singly in free form, or they can go in pairs or fours. And there are different guidelines and different things you have to meet to get points and to get the judge's favor. So it's something that you can do anywhere in the world at any age, and then you can aim for a competition.
Well, you know, this sounds to me a little bit of a combination of certain types of gymnastics and skydiving, in a sense. I mean, not jumping out of the plane, but I know they have skydiving competitions that people do certain maneuvers singly or in groups. And is this what you basically do in a competition with iFly?
Absolutely. It's interesting you brought that up. We have a lot of teams that jump out of airplanes, come and practice in our tunnel. When you jump out of an airplane, you have about 45 seconds of free flight. And then you have to get to the ground, pack your chute, get back in a plane, and get up to altitude. With us, you're in constant free fall. So we have great teams, and they go to the tunnels all the time. So you get to know them. It's a community, and they practice. We have team rooms available so they can watch themselves on playback, see what they did correctly or what they want to improve upon. They practice on the ground, and then they jump back in the tunnel to execute it better than they did the last time. So the teams are in, having a great time, participating in a sport, and they could either compete in a tunnel or throw themselves out of airplanes.
I think I'd choose the tunnel if I was going to do either. Well, let me ask you, one of the things that I admired when I looked at your business was your ability that you've expanded what you do, your brand, some people would call, and you've expanded into the community. You've used that word, and you actually have some very special programs. The first one that caught my eye was involving area school children, involving STEM. Would you talk to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. iFly feels it's very important to give back to the community. So we try and do that by making education more interesting to our children. The K-12 STEM education encompasses the process of critical thinking, analysis, and collaboration, in which students integrate the processes and concepts in real-world contexts of science, technology, engineering, and math. Basically, what that means is we will take a grade, get them into the tunnel, and we'll teach them part of their curriculum. And we have all of the curriculum that's going to be taught in all the grades, so we try and help the teacher out. We make it fun and interesting. Then we have them do an experiment, which will integrate everything that they learned, even if they're in grade 1 or grade 12. Then they will watch some of the concepts in action in the tunnel. For example, drag, velocity, Surface tension. That's the best part, let me tell you. We throw water into the tunnel, it breaks into little balls of water, and you can play with them. You can close your eyes and see them going in your head right now, up and down and up and down. So rain moves up and rain moves down, and the children's mouths drop open and big smiles appear. So this is engaging them in their education. They're understanding it in real time with examples that they're seeing visually that they'll never forget. It's a super way to learn, and then we reward them by putting them all in the tunnel so they can all fly.
You know, it's interesting. So basically what you're doing is using the physics, if you will, created by the tunnel and expanding that into science and math and other areas to help educate by experience.
Absolutely. It is just outstanding what we can give back to our community. We are also this year working with the teachers to have fundraisers where they will come in and we will donate some of the proceeds back to the different ISDs and the school districts. It's a win-win for us. We love to give back to the community. We like to help our children in a way that they'll never forget.
Well, you do some other programs too, as we were talking before the show, working with other groups such as veterans and whatnot. Tell us a little bit about those programs.
It's phenomenal. We can bring in, and we have done this in multiple tunnels around the country, different groups. For example, the Schools for the Blind. There's nothing like gathering a group of people who are blind into the tunnel. They don't know what they're looking at. They hear huge sounds, but they also don't have a fear. There's nothing better than walking into the tunnel, and I've had this happen. I walked in the morning, I see a pile of canes, the red and white ones that they use for guidance, piled outside, and they're all flying. They have no fear, big smiles. They don't need to see because it's all hand signals. So we grab their hands when they're in. They have been explained how to fly, and they do it just wonderfully. Another group that we have are people who might be missing limbs. We can't fly them with their artificial limbs, but if they take them off, the majority of the time, we can give them the dream of flight. They feel free, weightless, and they're doing something they wouldn't otherwise be able to do. It's absolutely wonderful, and it also includes people in wheelchairs.
That's interesting that a particular activity, physical activity in this case, would be available to such a broad group. I don't know of any other physical activity that I can think of off the top of my head that's available really to everyone that physically is able to get up, I guess, or get on, or what's the right word? How do I know I fall. I guess I fall into this, right? Is that the expression?
Yes, you actually get into the tunnel and you're on a safe column of air. And you're right. That's what a business has to aim for, is the broadest demographics that you possibly can service. And that's what we do, from children to seniors, and we can accommodate anyone. It's family friendly and it's safe. And that's what we aim for as a business. We're trying to bring the dream of flight to everyone that we possibly can, including disadvantaged or disabled groups.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic way, not only a great service to the community, but as I said earlier, an extension of what you do. Many businesses stay focused on what their business is right in front of them, and they all have opportunities to do it, not in this case, giving back to the community as well, in a sense of making this experience, if you will, available to people. Give us an idea, because I know you're involved in the corporate founding and the growth of iFly. What are the long-term goals of iFly?
Right now, iFly is in a huge expansion mode. So we are opening a lot of tunnels. I think we're opening 7 tunnels in the next couple of weeks. And that's just in the United States alone. We are also on a global pathway to open tunnels all over the world, because we don't just want to bring the dream of flight to the United States. We want it to be everywhere. We are opening 2 tunnels currently in Brazil. Paris is coming online. We're in Australia. It's amazing where we're going to be. So wherever you could possibly put a tunnel is where we're aiming. We're also, interestingly enough, on cruise ships. So if you go on to Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, one of the activities you can do is flying in one of our tunnels. It's smaller, it's 10 feet, but it adds to the other experiences like the surfing or the rock climbing. You can fly while you're on a boat.
Well, I assume, and this is a personal curiosity, you would classify your business as entertainment? How do you classify this business? I'm just curious.
Absolutely. First and foremost, it's purely entertainment. It's fun for everybody, but it can also be a sport. Some people take this very seriously. They have accounts with us, they come in, they practice just like an athlete several times a week or on a team with other people. And then they go to the competitions, either in the United States or around the world, and that's what they actually do. There are teams that get sponsored. So we, like the Red Bull Air Force team, they jump out of airplanes all over the place, and they're well known for this. They were at our opening of our memorial location, and they use our wind tunnel as well. It just helps them practice their maneuvers in the air and helps them be more dynamic when they are free falling for all the shows that they put on.
Yeah, it's an interesting business. There's no doubt about it. If folks in the community or listening to the program are interested in learning more about iFly, I mean, you have the 2 locations in Houston, but just in general, what is the best way for them to reach out and learn about iFly?
Absolutely go to our website. It's iFlyworld.com, and you can learn all the basics, what we do, and then you can find a location closest to you if you want to give it a try.
Well, Jennifer, I deeply appreciate you taking some time this morning to join us. Very interesting business model. And also, as I like to do, congratulations to you and your company for reaching out into the community and serving the community the way you do as part of your business. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break now. If you missed any part of the program earlier today, don't forget the archive will be posted in a couple days. Just go to irlonestar.com. Be right back with you.
Are you paying too much for your personal or business insurance? Patricia Cooper Insurance on FM 1488 and Tamina Road is an independent agency that can shop multiple carriers to find the best rates and coverages to fit your specific needs. Call us today at 281-356-9955 and let us go to work for you. Patricia Cooper Insurance, where our customers are treated like family.
Are you planning on growing, expanding, or possibly selling your business? All of these business opportunities require developing strategies and setting goals in order to achieve success. Providing specialized consulting in these and other key business decisions is what Silver Fox Advisors have been doing since 1986. Let us help you today. Call us at 713-343-3718. It might be the most profitable call that you ever make.
Running a business is hard. Pressure to maximize profits and minimize loss continue to grow. Schooley Mitchell of Houston can help. Their independent consultants will ensure you are receiving the best communications and credit card processing services at the best prices. Most importantly, their services are completely risk-free. If they don't find savings for you, there is no fee. Contact Schooley Mitchell of Houston today to find out. Call 832-314-1815 or visit their website at schooleymitchell.com/JM-Polio.
Taylor Eyes PR works exclusively to get your business noticed. Public relations is how others perceive you and your company. By tailorizing the marketing strategy exclusively to your business, your story is told. Taylor Eyes PR services include networking, social media, blogs, press releases, public appearances, and event planning. To learn about Taylor Eyes PR, call Margie Taylor at 936-828-6881 or visit the website at tayloreyespr.com. My business is tailored to yours.
This is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and host of the Weekly Business Hour. You've been listening to the show today. We just finished with our special studio guest, Jennifer Forrester of iFly. Again, I hope if you didn't hear that entire segment, that's an interesting business here in our community. Business is doing a lot of things right, and I think it was worth your time. If you missed some of it, go to the archives in a couple days when they're posted for today's show and give a listen to what Jennifer had to say. This part of the show is business tips you can use. I want to spend the next few minutes talking to you of a couple things that I was thinking about last week and came across some articles and some information, and I want to share them. The first one is really focused to a specific group of listeners. That is mainly our entrepreneurs or people who are thinking about starting a business. Many times when we start something new in our life, we don't take time to carefully think through it. Now, Usually in the case of a business, people will spend a certain amount of time. I recognize that. I did the same thing when I started my businesses. I got better and better at it, though, the more I did it. That's the education that experience brings us. But I think it's important to kind of have a general idea if you're thinking about starting a business or you've just started a business, to realize there's some general steps that you're going to go through, potentially, depending on how far you want to go. In other words, your plan to grow the business. We all have a point either thrust upon us or one that we plan. Obviously better to plan the point than have it thrust on you at some point where you just can't grow anymore because of a lack of capital or your capability or your desire or work-life balance. But let me share with you some ideas that came from an article. This was posted through the American Express small business site. Very interesting, and it was written by Scott Steinberg. It's very interesting. This is about building a particular business, but I think particular industry, but I think it really applies to all of us. He argues there are 6 stages of smart business growth. The first is you learn to crawl. Well, that's a stage that any of us have been in business, we remember, because our hands and knees get sore from crawling just like a baby. But this is when you start working through your idea. You start experimenting a little bit, typically every day. You're just trying to keep your doors open, keep your business alive. You got your first customer, your second, 5th, 10th, 20th, 50th customer, and everything is just sort of moving along. And the next stage that you're really hoping to get to is where you learn to walk. This is when a business, if it has not been your full-time occupation, then you make that decision to quit, as I say, your day job, your corporate job, the other job you had, and you go full-time. You've made that decision that your business idea, your business is viable and it's got a good chance of working. So you start to spend full-time in your business. You have a number of paying customers. The business is becoming self-sufficient. Many times people like this phase because they begin to feel, if they decide, the ideal work-life balance. They work their way through that. But the idea is you're walking. You may need to consider hiring employees at this point. This is a big step for anybody in going in business. A lot of folks I meet and work with sometimes are reluctant to hire that first, second, third employee. But if you're going to grow, you're going to have to grow with employees typically. There's some rare exceptions, but that's the big decision at the second phase. Third phase is what Scott calls you start running. This is almost like that snowball rolling downhill, picking up speed, getting bigger and bigger. You've got to have done your homework at this point. You've got to have your plan put together, because this is where the stress, believe it or not, really can pick up. I know it was difficult when you were crawling, but it really picks up because now you start to take on a higher degree of risk. Even though you might have been all in when you started your business, you'll have a higher degree of risk. It puts strain. You have cash flow that you have to watch even closer. So you need to carefully consider, do I want to move from the walking phase where I'm a small business, maybe have 1 or 2 employees, to the next step to run with my business? The next step is to drive. Now, this is when you really start to step up. You really start to build your business, and in my opinion, as is Scott's opinion, it's when you reach this level that he calls drive that you really are taking risk because you've risked to start your business, most likely. You took a certain amount of capital, you raise capital, however you put the money together. Yes, that's a risk. But at this point now, you're probably definitely reaching out. You're borrowing money. You're definitely getting money from other sources. The zeros get longer, and so you have to be careful. You've got to use some caution. You've got to do the best you can, obviously, to make the better decisions. So this means you've got to spend more and more time thinking and planning in the business and make sure that this fits with what you are capable of doing. Make sure this fits with what you want to do. You have to have some planner in you at this point. The next stage is when you start flying, as Scott calls it. Your business starts to take off and you leave the small business realm and you start to be in a multi-million-dollar business. You are really moving. You've got a number of employees around you. You may have an executive group with vice presidents, chief financial officer or controller. You have people reporting to you that actually run the business day to day. Again, this has to fit your personality. It has to be your goal. It's a whole different role from the first day when you started crawling. And it's example, there's decisions to be made. How far do I want to take my product and service geographically? Is this something that I can expand to the next state, throughout the United States, perhaps international? And the final stage is when you soar. And this is when your business is really known. You become what's known as a mid-sized company. Very few people make it this far. I'm convinced that a lot of people really don't want to get this far because they have to give up too much control. They have to give up too much of the work-life balance, meaning the life part of the equation. The family situation is just not conducive. They reach a point, they have a successful business, they're making money, it's consistent, they enjoy what they're doing, so there's no reason to grow to those points. But be aware as you start a business, try to think about as you go, how far, how fast do I want to go? Because each stage has its own challenges, and you have to be prepared to meet them. The second item I'd like to talk about as a business tip is part of the referral process. Referral business, as most of my listeners, I assume, know, is the best kind of business. But the idea of a referral, referrals cost you nothing. You're start at a higher level of trust with the potential prospect. The sales process will move quicker. Closing ratio is higher. Often you can sell more to someone you've been referred to. And these new clients that hopefully you take on, new customers, are more likely to follow your recommendation. So it's all about trust. So referrals are really, to me, the best prospect to start for. But the thing you have to remember when you're doing, or you commit to referral marketing, if you will, is one, you've got to have the mindset. You say, well, yeah, I like referrals. Referrals make a lot of sense. Maybe you meet somebody at a Chamber of Commerce or some other community event, the Rotary Club, and you get a referral. But do you really have the mindset to work with referrals? You've got to be able to seek them continuously. In other words, you've got to have a strategic plan. You've got to be able to commit yourself to looking for those kind of people and to look in the right places. You've got to embrace referrals as the best way to build your business, or the best one of two ways. It takes time. It is not just simply going to a community event, a business event, a chamber meeting, and just passing your card out. You haven't even begun to begin true referral marketing that can really benefit your business. Building a referral-based business is more than simply putting together a set of strategies and tactics. It's a way of thinking. It's a very specific style of doing business that begins with a commitment to building your business through relationships. Note the key word there, in my opinion, commitment. You have to commit to it. You have to understand that new clients prefer to meet me through referrals than any other way. And a lot of this is specific to industries, but there are certain industries that the only place, or the best place, let's say, to get new business is going to be referrals. So you set this up as a primary way of obtaining clients. So you have to accept that. You have to look at the lifetime value of a client. This is an important point. Many people will take on a client or a new customer, and they don't look at that customer at lifetime business. And again, this could be a Main Street business, as I like to call them, where people walk through your door and you have a storefront. Every time you deal with a customer or client, there are things you can do to follow up. There can be the communication when they're in your place of business that says, I value your business and I want to build a lifetime relationship with you. It really doesn't matter what business you're in, unless for some reason your industry is a one and out, as Jennifer mentioned before in her business. You have to build it where people come back. The other thing that I'd like to mention, the third thing, you need to have an attitude of leverage. In other words, when you enter into a new relationship, you've got to constantly be looking for ways to leverage that relationship to produce many win-win situations. Okay? This is not predatory. You are entering into relationships to work with people, to serve them as they serve you with referrals. I've seen this practiced in my career a number of times, and the people that do it are highly successful. They have it down pat, and it's something, again, that you have to work on. You have to become more referable as you develop trust with your prospects. This will happen. You have to strive to move beyond the communication and the discussion with these folks and build a relationship. Instead of selling products or services, you sell solutions. We've heard this before. It's not uncommon. So I encourage you to think about making referral marketing one of the mainstays of your business. If it fits with your industry, then sit down and analyze it and go through it. But you have to develop a mindset that it's important to what you do, because it's not something that you can go in half-baked about. It's not something you do every Tuesday at the Rotary Club luncheon and look for referrals. It's something you have to do every day and have that mindset when you get up and open the front door of your business or sit down and make that first phone call. Well, those are a couple of business tips that I have for you. Hopefully one or both of them can help you, and I hope you'll think about using them. And again, if you have questions about them, please send me an email. My email address here at the station is rick@irlonestar.com. We're going to take a final break for the day, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to offer you the Silver Fox Advisor Tip of the Week. So please stay with us, and we'll be right back with you.
Tailorized PR works exclusively to get your business noticed. Public relations is how others perceive you and your company. By tailorizing the marketing strategy exclusively to your business, your story is told. Tailorized PR services include networking, social media, blogs, press releases, public appearances, and event planning. To learn about Tailorized PR, call Margie Taylor at 936-828-6881 or visit the website at tailorizedpr.com. My business is tailored to yours.
Are you planning on growing, expanding, or possibly selling your business? All of these business opportunities require developing strategies and setting goals in order to achieve success. Providing specialized consulting in these and other key business decisions is what Silver Fox Advisors have been doing since 1986. Let us help you today. Call us at 713-343-3718. It might be the most profitable call that you ever make.
Running a business is hard. Pressure to maximize profits and minimize loss continue to grow. Schooley Mitchell of Houston can help. Their independent consultants will ensure you are receiving the best communications and credit card processing services at the best prices. Most importantly, their services are completely risk-free. If they don't find savings for you, there is no fee. Contact Schooley Mitchell of Houston today to find out. Call 832-314-1815 or visit their website at schooleymitchell.com/JM-Polio.
Are you paying too much for your personal or business insurance? Patricia Cooper Insurance on FM 1488 and Tamina Road is an independent agency that can shop multiple carriers to find the best rates and coverages to fit your specific needs. Call us today at 281-356-9955 and let us go to work for you. Patricia Cooper Insurance, where our customers are treated like family.
You are listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and this is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox Advisor and host of the Weekly Business Hour. I hope you've enjoyed the show to this point. Business tips we've gone over, but I always like to give what I think is the Silver Fox Advisor Tip of the Week, and this is a tip that I hope that you can immediately think about and implement in your business. It's meant to be broad in its application, and perhaps you can make it a little more specific and make it work even better for you. And the issue I'd like to talk about today is 5 ways to build trust with your customers. I alluded to that earlier when I talked about in the business tip segment about building a referral process and using that. That's based on trust. But there are other areas of the business that we need to develop trust. Like I said in the last segment, to me, one of the keys of a successful business is building a relationship with every customer you have. Even if you're on Main Street or you're in an office selling insurance or selling Christmas decorations or whatever, it doesn't matter. You build a relationship because you want referrals, which we've talked about. You want people to come back. You want people to talk good about your business. You want them to have a good feeling about doing business with you, a positive feeling, if you will. So let's talk about 5 easy ways to build trust with your clients. A lot of this idea I picked up from an article that was published by Citrix, one of the leading software companies out there, that they offered to some of their clients, and I thought a lot of these points made sense, and I've added some of my own. The first one is listen. We hear that all the time, right? Here we go, repeat, repeat, repeat. But you need to listen primarily, I think, to better understand the situation. This happens in a simple form when someone walks in a store and they're looking for a product, they're not sure you have it, they're not sure if your service will work for them, and they want to talk about it. How many times, and I had this happen to me recently, where I called someone to ask about something and I wasn't sure, and all they wanted to do was talk, and they wouldn't let me finish my thought. They knew what I wanted before I could finish telling them what I wanted. And this is very ineffective, and that has stuck with me. And the fact that effective listening is one of the most important tools for communication, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to communicate. When we need to be focused. If we're in person, our body language, engagement with people is so important. And again, I sometimes feel like I'm preaching to the choir, but a lot of times I need to be reminded, listen with the two ears and not the one mouth. And listen to what people are trying to communicate. See if you can understand and make sure you do. So the idea is focus. If you're in a situation where you're face-to-face, shut down your electronic devices. Maintain eye contact. Focus on the client. How many times has that happened to us recently where we go, say, into a restaurant and the person that's waiting on us their attention is diverted either to another table. I've even had a circumstance where they pulled out their phone and looked at it. Pretty amazing. Engage, confirm, repeat, and paraphrase. One of the biggest things I think I've taught myself in this regard is to repeat the question, repeat the issue, make sure that I understand it, put it in my terms and say, is this what you are thinking about? The second thing is to research, because it really gets down to it's all about perspective, and in order to form the right perspective when you're communicating or working with a customer or client is you have to know a little bit of something about them. Yes, when they walk through your Main Street store, you do a quick check and you look at them, you see where they're coming from. Hopefully they give you a little information of why they're there, what they're wanting to do, what they're looking for, but you have to develop a perspective. You've got to know their point of view or stance on what they're looking for, because if you don't and you go a different direction, then you are not building a relationship. You're in the process of alienating that prospect. So if you get a chance, depending on what business you're in, do some research on your client. Understand who they are, who they represent, what they might be looking for. Learn as much as you can about their background. Look at anything that indicates what their likes and dislikes are. That way you identify and anticipate their needs. You can build conversation and build rapport off of those. The third issue I'd like to talk about is be responsive. Well, this goes without saying, be responsive. It's a behavior that's played out every day in our communications. Either we're non-responsive at one end of the scale or we're responsive at the other end. Most of the communication I've been involved in is somewhere in the middle. The businesses that really stand out are the ones that are down at the far end of the scale, what I call being responsive. That you're responsive to your prospects, to your customers, clients, that your customer service is responsive in a way that makes sense to the customer, that responds to their need, not what you perceive to be their need. It's interesting. I've experienced this time and again. Many clients will forgive mistakes and hiccups, but you can't ignore them. You ignore them, that's a deal breaker. You need to be timely in your response, a quick response. And I actually go out of my way to thank people when they respond to me quickly. In an email or whatever situation, thanks for the quick response. I want them to know that I appreciate it and to encourage them to keep doing it. Thank yous are important. Check-ins after the fact, after they've had service. Some of this has become fairly automated, but I received one myself the other day. It was a text message, and it was very individualized, and it went a long way towards building my relationship with that vendor. Fourth, collaborate. Look for collaborative opportunities with clients. Ask them for feedback. Every decision they make, that you make on their behalf, if it's a long-term type relationship, be sure you include them in it. And if you can, explain your process take time to review and agree on the approach that you're taking to meet their needs. So the point is that if you've, depending on the industry, depending on the business, that some cases you will need to communicate after the fact, yes, but during the process as well, letting people know where they stand. And all of us, I hope, have experienced this in a very positive way along the way, so we can reinforce to ourselves how important it can be if in our business, if it's not just a quick sale, but a process where an order is placed and letting people know where their order is, somewhat akin to what Amazon does and sends you a series of a couple emails. Your order's been shipped, your order's in transit. If you choose, you can track it. I mean, you know that something's happened, and 99.999% of the time, the package arrives when they promised it. The fifth and last thing is sort of a summary, is to build relationships. The bottom line is, and we know this because we're customers, we make decisions on feelings and emotions. A lot of times we don't refer necessarily to a spreadsheet or fancy proposals. Yes, if we're good at what we do in our business, we check our numbers, not to say that. But what's really important is building that personal relationship with you, if you're the representative that the prospect, customer, or client's dealing with, and whether they like you, whether they feel comfortable with you. I mean, online we can push a few buttons and we do business, but let's face it, Amazon has literally spent hundreds of millions of dollars in building relationships, and most of it digital. But a lot of times this is their only avenue, but they have worked very hard to build those relationships. We have to do the same thing in our business. It's a personal relationship. In the case of Amazon, it's a brand. Their business model was expensive. It is expensive. They've spent billions of dollars building it. But I think even in our small businesses, we don't need to spend, obviously don't have the money to spend, but it's more than money, a lot more than money. It's identifying how you build relationships in your business and developing a process of building relationships that you can communicate not only to the client, the customer, and the prospect, but you communicate to your employees, each one of those employees, regardless of where they work in the business. So in summary, use your client's name in conversation. This is conversation, whether it be in writing, text, an email, or in a phone call. Give sincere compliments to them, as I mentioned earlier, I try to do when I get good service. Know how to apologize when you seek feedback. Deal with any problems as they arise, and I think you can build a really successful business. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today. I appreciate you joining the show. I encourage you to visit our website at irlonestar.com to stay up with everything that's happening in Montgomery County. As we close the show today, I want to give a big Lone Star thanks to our sponsors, Patricia Cooper Insurance Company, Schooley Mitchell, Taylorize PR, and the Silver Fox Advisors. Stay engaged this week and keep a focus on what counts in your business. Thank you for joining us, and until next week, remember to stay in touch with what's happening in Montgomery County here on Lone Star Internet Radio.
Thank you for checking out a podcast on Lone Star Internet Radio. Lone Star Internet Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station, broadcasting from the heart of Conroe, Texas. If you are interested in sponsoring a program for Lone Star Internet Radio, just visit us online at irlonestar.com or message us on Facebook. We are always taking song requests on Twitter, and if you are interested in getting involved with the station by either hosting your own show or if you want to be a DJ, just contact Dick at irlonestar.com. Lone Star Internet Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station.